It's not been a great night for the AWO, of that much the three of us will admit. And one of the stipulations that was never spoken about on the channel was that the star ratings video, our most shit-on, criticised, balls against the wall video the losing team would have to do in its entirety. So here we are doing the star rating video, just the three of us. If you don't like it, well, you're impossible to please. So here they are, the Royal Rumble 2018, every single match, star rating by the AWO.
Well, that was a lot louder than we thought it was going to be, wasn't it?
So we started off the night with AJ Styles defending his WWE Championship against both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And let's be perfectly honest, we all knew that AJ was going to retain, but they were robbed. Kevin Owens was not the legal man, but even so, let's be honest, neither of them lost anything in this defeat. AJ Styles continues on, let's hope, until WrestleMania, and all in all, it was a fun match. Of course, later on in the night, Owens and Zayn controversially attacked Ty Dillinger and stole his place, well, Zayn did, in the men's Royal Rumble match, and let's not forget Shane McMahon being his dickish self to the both of them backstage post-match, which I've no doubt, let's bloody hope, will be followed up on Tuesday night. But all in all, as I said, a fun match. No one lost anything as a result of it, and there's plenty to go from here. 3.5 stars.
So the 2 out of 3 falls match wasn't quite what we were hoping for. I can't be doing with this. This is bullshit. How do you do it, Scott Hall? I don't know. This match was not what we wanted it to be. We've come to expect quality matches from the Usos. There's no change there. And Chad Gable has proved himself more than capable of delivering on the big stage. There were some good spots, granted, but for me, it felt like the whole match was going in slow motion, and the pace of the whole thing wasn't quite what I come to expect from these two teams. In my head, to be fair, I'm thinking this match would have been so much better. Like, so much better if they just put American Alpha in the match against the Usos. I mean, for God's sake, what is Jason Jordan even doing? We'll get to that in a minute, in case anybody's wondering. But right now, it's not American Alpha versus the Usos. It's Chad Gable and Benjamin versus the Usos. And unfortunately, it's just not the same. I'm sorry, Vince, but it's just not the same. It's not the goddamn same. Now, admittedly, I am very much an advocate of NXT and the guys who come through from NXT. Therefore, this match should have been right on my street. Chad Gable is a guy I am a massive advocate for. He is an impressive performer. He's an Olympic goddamn wrestler. But to be honest, in this particular match, it just didn't happen. So overall, it's 3 stars for me. Underperformed a little, but at the end of the day, 2 out of 3 ain't so bad after all, is it?
The men's Royal Rumble match. Jesus Christ, wipe me dry. First of all, Shinsuke Nakamura won. Second of all, Roman Reigns fucking didn't! Yes! For me, this was probably the best Royal Rumble match of the decade. You had Andrade Cien Almas, you had Adam Cole, baby, you had the return of the Hurricane, and Rey Mysterio, looking fucking ripped, by the way, Rey. As well as that, you had Kofi Kingston doing one of the best spots of his career. Who knew you could avoid elimination by just standing on some pancakes? And Seth Rollins' fire trousers is the only way to describe them. Kane must have been royally pissed off when he saw those backstage. And it would be remiss to not mention that moment where you had the Ruthless Aggression era versus the PG era. Cena, Orton and Mysterio versus Reigns, Balor and Nakamura. And Nakamura, as much as all we doubted him, conquered them all. He is going to WrestleMania. Let's bloody hope to face AJ Styles. We've seen them go head to head in New Japan. We get a Shinsuke Nakamura entrance at WrestleMania. But anyway, we are here to review the men's Royal Rumble match. And for me, not quite. 4.5 stars.
Now, I know he's allegedly been carrying an injury for a while, so his participation in both the Rumble and his own tag match has been called into question. But surely, if he needed to be removed from any kind of match, you use that to, well, use it to set up somebody else. Like, he can be taken out of the Rumble, you can be taken out of this match, and somebody else can just take his place. It gives you a really good excuse to create a cool moment. And instead, what do we get? All we got was that he ended up costing Seth Rollins a match, and what happened with that? The fucking AWO lost, and now I have to get a goddamn wax chop. Do you know what that is? Overall, 2.5 stars.
Although the AWO did suffer a terrible loss after that Jason Jordan Fuck you, Jason Jordan, you prick. I hate you so much. Anyway, the main point here is that as a wrestling fan, normally you do expectation versus reality, and 9 times out of 10, reality gets you by the balls and gives you a good old rogering. However, in this particular occasion, it seems like expectation came up in trumps. We were all expecting Braun Strowman to look strong and dominant, as he did. We were all expecting the Kane, the future, potentially, mayor of Knox County, to be the guy who took the pin. That's what we got. We were all expecting Brock Lesnar to get the win. And, of course, that's exactly what we got. Adam Cleary described this one as 3 pieces of raw pork in a washing machine, and I think you would find it very difficult to come up with a more succinct and more accurate analogy in this particular situation. There were some high spots, of course. Braun and Lesnar both had some really hard hits on each other's heads, which probably would have killed pretty much everyone in the WhatCulture office. On top of that, we also had enough Braun smash to appease the fans who were there, but also enough chair and table and of course announce table action and smashing and crashing and bashing to appease the Philadelphia crowd, who were of course the ECW fans deep down at heart. All in all, I don't think many people were expecting too much from this match. It was going to be a Brock Lesnar win regardless. Kane's inclusion was kind of there to just kind of mediate the 3 people, but we've given it 3 stars, and to be fair, nothing ventured and nothing gained.
In the main event of the Royal Rumble, we had the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, and I guarantee you, half of your friends will tell you that it was shit, and half of your friends will tell you that it was good. And why? Well, because if you think about it in the context of the men's Royal Rumbles, the first few there were messy and full of botches, and they only ever hit the big keynotes that WWE wanted them to hit. Whereas tonight, they did the same. Like, there was long parts where it didn't quite work, but there were so many incredible moments, and they've learned so much from like Rumble history. And yeah, by the end of it, we maybe wanted to see certain people there, but what we got was really good. Don't get me wrong, I'm very flattered that WWE have watched my booking video and understand that the way to do it is to put Rousey into the whole thing and to have her come out at the end and just kind of lord it over everybody else. Like, they didn't let her dominate them. They didn't let her wrestle them, which is the most important part, which kind of implies that when they finally let her loose, she's going to be dominant. Like, they obviously decided that, despite Michael Sidgwick's comments of Asuka is Japanese, that tonight Asuka had to win, and by having Rousey not beat her, not come out, not take anything away from her, just be in the ring. Bliss, Charlotte, Asuka, Rousey. I mean, we could never have asked for any more than that, could we? Like, we've got the best personality character in women's wrestling in Alexa Bliss. We've probably got the most consistent performer in women's wrestling in Charlotte. We've got probably the hottest, most over, most hyped, most exciting women's wrestler currently in WWE in Asuka. And let's not fuck about, we have got the biggest female sports person in the world in the ring with WWE's 3 best. I've gone about 5 paragraphs off script here with that, and it just feels right, all of it. Now, not including it in the Rumble itself is a missed opportunity. This was the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. They were making history. To have Rousey in it and to have Rousey win it would have rubber stamped it. It would have established it as the biggest moment in women's wrestling in WWE, but they decided not to do that for whatever reason. For all people are going to be disappointed that Rousey wasn't in the match and there wasn't these big moments that they expected, or, you know, I mean, you're a fan of the channel, there wasn't these big moments that your favourite person in the world had booked. They've done it. Yeah, they did alright. Asuka winning for Rousey to come out was really good booking. 3 stars. So those were our star ratings. We can't wait to see how close Uncle Dave gets to those, because
obviously... bring it on, Uncle Dave, you motherfucker!
And in the meantime, please don't forget to
like,
share,
and subscribe.
Until next time, we have been the AWO from WhatCulture Wrestling, and we will see you soon.
Soon.
That was it! The last one! We did the last one!